Hello all, Arigato here for Oni in the Garden, and we're going to go ahead and start back here on the side yard, or the alleyway I guess, where the blackberry is doing really well. It is throwing new plants underground. You can kind of see one of them got a little bit chopped up when I came through and did some mowing back here early last week, yeah, early last week. But you can also see it's covered with flowers, and some of the flowers have fallen off, leaving behind fruit. So we're going to get blackberries off this thing for the next 2.5, maybe 3 months. Now, I do know it's been throwing runners underground, mainly because I've got runners that are coming up on the other side in the asparagus areas, but I'm not too worried about it overall. Those I can trim out and, you know, pull off as need be. I will come up over and take a look over the back here. All right, so you can kind of see, let's see here, some of the asparagus. Can't see it on there. It is on the screen there. Doesn't look like it's doing well, but it's actually the fronds themselves are doing okay. Yeah, look, there's one right there, and one right about there. I think I'm pointing in the right spot. Um, the fronds don't look like they're doing great, but they're actually doing okay. So, and even if they do fail, I've got 4 of them. So if one of them fails, then the other crowns will just pick up the slack. So that's pretty good. Potatoes. So I've got 2 plants, one of which is actually doing pretty good. That's this plant here in the front. And one of which is getting chewed to pieces. And I can't really tell what's doing the chewing. I found some snails on there, but nothing says that snails actually like to eat potatoes. And admittedly, the snails that I have found have very thin shells. So maybe they're eating the potatoes and getting poisoned by it. Potato leaves are incredibly toxic. It is a nightshade after all, so that makes sense. All right, raised bed. Haven't gotten anything out of this section here. The dillo dirt and dillo topsoil, basically. Um, they've been getting rained on. We've been getting a lot of rain the last couple of days. So I don't know if I've lost some seeds. I don't see the seed tape. I think it just kind of got mixed in a little bit more. And I do see some, that looks like they're probably sprouts. So I've got something coming up. And it's in one where one of the lines was. So maybe. The pumpkin down here, obviously a lot of it got buried, but more of it is coming up just fine. So what survives, survives. It's a volunteer, so it's not a big deal. I do have this one right there. Yeah, right there. Looks like it came, it's one of the ones I pulled up, but it does look like it's still surviving pretty decently. So I think it rerouted. That's fine. In here we've got acorn squash right about there. Nothing come up yet, but maybe eventually. The bush beans, I'm not looking for anything out of them, but I do still, you'll still see some flowers in there, so get what you can. Um, Honestly, I'm surprised that the peas are still holding on as well as they are. There's a lot of green in there for something that's been pulled up almost 2 weeks ago, so that's kind of surprising. I'm even seeing what looks like new growth right there. But, you know, it got really hot. They stopped throwing flowers of any kind. I cut it out, turned it into mulch, and it got cold again. Go figure. Right now I'm standing out here, it's about 70, which, we were in the 90s for a little while there, so yeah. The tomatoes here, nicely caged. I do have a couple other sets of tomatoes in here, and I'll need to put cages around them. And you can see I've got just 2 cages stacked on top of each other. The hatch pepper is doing quite nicely. And then I've got another tomato in behind it. Let me move this around here. Just kind of see it right there against the edge. It's another volunteer, probably a different variety entirely. So, make of it what you will. I have no idea what varieties they are. They're all just volunteers. Nothing coming up yet in these pots, although, so nothing in that one, which I believe is another type. I believe there's beets in that one, or the type of turnip that doesn't actually grow a bulb. The flowers here look pretty, but they aren't really doing a whole lot. This right here, like I said, we've been getting a lot of rain. So the front half of the bed is very, very moist now. Back half of the bed is currently pretty dry. I want to go ahead and water it up here in a little bit with some rain catch. It's nice stuff, but not expecting too much out of it, but hopeful. Bush beans in here, it looks like. Yep. Got at least one right there. Coming up. Might be, yep, nope. Here's another one right here. So I've got bush beans coming in. Fresh ones, brand new ones. The paintbrush. I think we'll get a good bunch of seed clusters off of this. Might just need to start putting bags on some of those. Okay. This asparagus here is doing really, really quite well. You can see all the fronds there. Still not sure what this is. I remember putting something in and it's going to throw flowers. So, I mean, it's something I planted. Whatever. Let's see. I've got spinaches now in here. Like a double line of spinaches. Do need to water this in a little bit, but I can see the moisture is actually all the way back to here. So I'm not too worried about it at all. Been tearing apart this stack of pallets in between. See, the weather has to be kind of dry because I'm trying to save as much of the wood as possible, but if the wood's wet, it'll just tear rather than pulling apart. And so, yeah, it's been a mess. But these will be reusable sooner or later. The apple. No signs of aphids yet. Although something. Let me see, can that focus? Focus. Some sort of a spider, it looks like. It's trying to focus. Yeah. Trying to use the apple tree, so hopefully they'll keep the ants and the aphids down. I do see ants moving up the tree, so I probably got aphids somewhere on here. I just don't see yet, which means I need to get out the neem oil and BT spray. Oh, what? There they are. There they are. There's the clusters. Little blighters. There we go. Focus. Yeah. All right. So, yeah, definitely need to spray the tree, which I guess I'll do here in a few minutes. But other than that, it's cooled down significantly again. We'd have to turn the heater back on, surprisingly enough. And it's been raining basically every day for the last week. So, yeah. But other than that, y'all have yourselves a good one. Talk to you later.